Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Great. All right, go ahead and kick it off. Welcome to our HUBzero Community Meeting for November 2020. We are doing these on a quarterly basis now. So thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time and you being here. Share a little bit about what's going on with HUBzero. And so I'm Nate Snodgrass. I'm the project manager for HUBzero. And just a quick reminder about what we have going on here today is that we have these community meetings on a quarterly basis with members of our community and various stakeholders. This is where the HUBzero team can share updates about development projects, features, HUBzero services, and any related opportunities that might be relevant to our community. You can see here that we have some links here for where you can find announcements of events like these quarterly meetings would be at that link. We also have recordings of these meetings, previously held ones, that are available on our HUBzero YouTube channel, as well as our newsletter that comes out periodically that you can subscribe to at that link there. And for questions today, we just asked that during the presentation that if you can put those in the chat, and then we'll get those covered at the end. And so just a quick walk through our agenda is we just had a quick welcome there. We've got a couple of new team members that we wanted to mention and introduce today, and we'll give some project updates on some new community members that we have joining the HUBzero community, as well as a quick update on what's been happening with the CentOS operating system upgrades and what's happening there with documentation and packages, and also a little bit of discussion on work we've been doing with Tapas API. So, as I mentioned, we do have a couple of new team members that have joined us. Danny Whitehair is helping us out with customer support, and she's a customer relationship specialist. And she's working on addressing any client support needs, as well as helping us out with some project management work on some of the projects that we have going on. And Rich Wellner is so new to the team. He just started this week that we don't have a headshot of him yet. Working on getting that from Rich. But he is a software developer, and he's going to be focused here over the next 6 months or so and working on our usage statistics code and refreshing that and improving that across the HUBzero platform. And so if you hear from these folks, I ask you just give them a warm welcome, and we're really happy to have them on the team to help us out in these areas. I think they're going to be a big help and really make some good things happen for our community. And on to some new community members that we have that have just started here recently. First one I wanted to tell you about is the Pulsar Search Collaboratory. This is a project out of West Virginia University. It's primarily focused on kind of a citizen science kind of approach to identifying pulsars, and they work mostly with middle and high school students and teachers. They are using data from the Green Bank telescope there in West Virginia, and the students have the opportunity to go out there and analyze that data and search for new pulsars. So it's a pretty cool project. They also have some astronomers that are engaged with this, some professional astronomers, and they serve as in a mentor capacity in a lot of ways and working with teachers and students on this project. And so to date, with the Pulsar Search Collaboratory, the students have analyzed more than 2 million pieces of data. Students themselves have discovered 8 new pulsars and have served as authors on some publications. This is a project that is supported by the NSF as well. The other one is the Computational Infrastructure for Geodynamics. This is a project out of UC Davis, and it's a Science Gateway community that's focused on advancing Earth science and providing software for folks in geophysics and related fields. And they really want to provide leadership on computational geophysics. And so they have a lot of software out there that is used by this community. And they use this platform and their gateway to make that readily available for that community. And this is a project out of UC Davis, and this is also a project that's funded by the NSF. And then the third new client that we have is called NEMAR. This is out of UC San Diego. And NEMAR stands for the Neuro Electromagnetic Data Archive and Tools Resource. And this is part of the NIH initiative, the NIH Brain Initiative, for a program that funds efforts for various brain data related to data archives and processing and visualization. And this gateway particularly is focused on EEG data. They want to be the kind of source of truth for EEG data and an archive for that data. EEG is electroencephalography data on brain waves. And so those are 3 new community members. We're really excited and happy about these projects. Again, it kind of speaks to the breadth and diversity of the types of science that we're able to support. And all 3 of these are really, really new and just getting started and kicked off here. And so we'll be sharing more, in the future about progress from these, and looking forward to have them be part of these discussions as well, and part of our community with HUBzero. Next up, we have Eric Hubner. He's going to give a quick update here on CentOS operating system upgrades that have been happening. Oop.
Oh, hi, Nate. Hi, everybody. Didn't realize I was next. Okay. So yeah, pretty much 2 notes. I'm actually working on the documentation for some of the migration stuff right now. So CentOS and RHEL hosts are, they don't recommend an in-place upgrade, although I've read some things that it's possible, but again, it's not recommended. So, so if you have a CentOS 6 host, migrating to a CentOS 7 host is a migration. It's not an upgrade. So the process looks like setting up a new host, installing a new hub from scratch, and then copying over directories, but not all the directories, and also doing an export and import of the MySQL database. So, so yeah, that's a really short version of how that migration, that upgrade will work. Right now, Docker tools are not available. It's getting that, updating the packages, and converting people from OpenVZ is a very, very long process. So we're not ready for that yet. But I've pushed recently to make to at least have this upgrade for the CMS ready. So I will probably by the end of the meeting here have the documentation published. So if you guys are familiar with where our documentation is, you go to the system administration section, and you'll see the CentOS RHEL 7 section and the instructions there. Yep, that's it.
Okay, thanks, Eric. All right, and next up we have Steve Clark to give an update on this Tapas API work.
Well, good afternoon or good morning to everybody. I'm Steve Clark. I work with the HPC submission part of HUBzero in large part. And today I'll give you a little bit of an update on what we're doing to integrate the Tapas API system that's coming out of TAC. the couple major reasons to do this is it's both a data management and a job submission API. So that's the data management part is something that was not really provided by Submit. So with the TAPA system, you can archive results to a sort of a third party site, or you can bring it back to your hub, or you could keep it at HPC. There's ways in there to move data around a little bit, provides functionality to move data for jobs. Second thing, it's a service oriented approach more than the sort of command line approach that we've been using with Submit. And this is something that we want to move towards in a bigger picture way, longer term way. The way it's been done to date is to add Submit as sort of basically as the communication method for venues. So you can keep the same clusters, but you can reconfigure them to submit jobs through TAPIS and use the Submit front end, which gives you a nice way to declare the job inputs and other command line parameters. And it will also maintain compatibility going forward. The second sort of point is that it will, by keeping the state of jobs in a sort of central database rather than individual processes, it should allow us to decouple submission from back-end computation, which may give us or will give us some extra advantages going forward for new simulation submission endpoints, people submitting from other devices other than the hub workspace and things like that. So that's what I have for today.
Okay. Thank you, Steve. And Claire just sent a note in the chat, but if you do have questions, feel free to put those out there in the chat and we'll answer them here shortly. We know you have a lot of Zoom meetings, so we're planning to keep this relatively short today. So some additional business types of things that we have going on is there's the upcoming Science Gateways Community Institute Focus Week that's going to be an online version. And this is something that some of you are familiar with, but to give those that aren't a better idea of what that is it's an online workshop that is really helpful for these Science Gateway and research projects. And so it's taking place here starting on November 30th. This is the 8th such focus week. And it's really focused on project sustainability types of programs and, kind of geared towards helping out program directors or principal investigators and their teams that want to really build some rigor around a sustainability plan. And so it walks them through, a lot of kind of business types of planning steps and thinking about how to make your project sustainable beyond, a grant or funding that you might have available to you. And so thinking about things in a long-term fashion, thinking about where you fit into the marketplace, and thinking about your usability, kind of what your core mission is, and really boiling some things down to figure out what you want to focus on. And so these are really helpful, have been really helpful for a lot of people, and have seen some pretty good success come out of these in the past. So really encourage folks to take part of this. And a nice thing about it too is that it's broken up. This is typically when it was in person pre-COVID. It was a really kind of intense 1 week type of workshop. but it's now spread out over 2 weeks and is online. But you have the opportunity to, probably take some extra time in between the online sessions and think a little bit more about that, and potentially even focus on certain areas or aspects of this. And so there's more details out there on this link on the Science Gateway's website if you want to look at the agenda and the types of topics that this focus week covers. And then like I said, we also have the community meetings on a quarterly basis. And so our next one is planned for February 2021. Don't have a set date for that yet, but as soon as we do, we'll be sure to communicate that to you. Make sure to get that on your calendars because we know y'all are busy. So that's really it for our planned topics today. It looks like we might have a question or so that has come through the chat. Jeanette asked, on the TAPIS API, what time frame are you looking at for making this available? Can you comment on that, Steve?
I can comment. I don't have a definite answer. I would say probably.
She said, sorry, to clarify, she's talking about the hosted hubs.
Yeah, so this will be part of the, at least the way I envision it now, it would be part of the submit sort of package system, which I think the hosted hubs use the same packages that the rest of us do. So that should help. So if that's going to be the case, it should be probably first quarter next year.
Okay. Also got a couple of plugs here for the focus week from Jeanette Spirac and Lee Noble that have attended previously, that they highly recommend it. And that's a great opportunity and very helpful for their teams and their groups. Do we have any other questions? They don't have to be, specifically related to things discussed today. If you have more general questions that we can help with, happy to take those as well. Oh, I have another question here from Katrina Adams asking about, can we say anything more about the usage statistics changes? Katrina, do you have anything specific there in mind that you're curious about? And you can unmute and talk now that presentation's done.
Sure. No, I just I saw that you've got rich now, and I was just wondering if there's any specific things that are working. That's really exciting.
Yeah, so he, like I said, he just started this week, but I mean, it's really looking at kind of refactoring what we have across the board and making some good improvements to those. It's tough to say specifically what that will be yet, because he's going to be determining how to make those improvements and what that will eventually look like. So I don't know. I apologize, but I don't have a lot specifically to say.
No, that's fine.
About that yet.
Can say a little bit more. Damien has some more input into the immediate goal, but we do have a nearer term goal on unifying the stats across all hubs in a reliable way, and a longer term goal of actually making them a lot more near real time, so they can be used for interventions as people are working with the hub. But Damien, maybe you have some idea about you want to convey about the immediate tasks that we're working on.
Yeah, the immediate tasks are really aimed at bringing stability and confidence to the numbers that are generated and making sure there's more quality assurance bits in there as they're generated. So we reduce the amount of trouble tickets and improve the quality of the numbers that are delivered, and that the pages that you go to see the numbers, you have confidence when you're looking at them that they are what they say they are. And then, like Mike mentioned, downstream goals are definitely to increase the kind of real-timeness of the metrics gathered, and to increase the richness of the information that we gather from the interactions that take place on the site.
There's also a question about the usage stats being improved for open source hubs.
I think that this will impact all the hubs. That's the goal. That's my goal anyway, to have a single truth of the usage stats. So if you have a usage stats collection enabled and usage pages enabled, this is kind of rolled into that. I guess somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's included.
Okay. Comment from Anne, that documentation on how the usage stats are collected would be useful as well.
Yeah, I think we can probably have documentation, especially around what is the definition of a visitor. There might be some lack of clarity there when you go to the visit page. Like, what does it mean when you see the number for this month? I'm assuming that's what the question is about. If not, maybe could you clarify what kind of documentation you'd be interested in?
Yeah, that would be helpful. Is also like, usage on resources. How is that, how is that measured? If same person downloads it twice, does it count once or does it count twice? Things like that. I get questions from users all the time as to how these things are counted.
Yeah, there should be somewhere that you could maybe click that says a user is a unique user over the defined interval of time. Typically, I mean, the user counts are distinct users over the period of time considered, but it doesn't say that anywhere. So it's hard to expect people to just magically know that. I agree.
Thanks.
Good question. Jeanette also added, to Anne's point, documentation on the contents and structure of the backend usage database would be great. There's a great deal of information already collected. Some hub developers might wish to expose more of this on the site, on their hubs. Okay, do we have additional questions? Okay, if we don't have additional questions, just want to say thank you to all of you, our community. We're so grateful for you having us, be a part of supporting your projects and your science and your research. It means a lot to be a part of it and included in serving folks in some way. So we thank you. We really appreciate you very much, and hope that everyone stays well, has a great Thanksgiving holiday, and let us know if you have any questions following the meeting or anything we can do to help. Okay. Thanks, everyone.